In the silent hush before dawn, the earth exhales secrets beneath ruined columns and sunken streets. Tonight we wander ancient waterways, veins etched by time, carrying life before empires rose. No swords here, only flow. No banners, only reflections on still pools. We will not chase conquest, but listen to the whisper beneath stone, to the memory held in every drop. Water never demands applause. It seeps, it glides, it contours. It forgets neither stone nor story. Empires rose on its back, fell at its mercy. From deserts to deltas, from mountain springs to cavernous aquifers, civilizations learned its language, quiet geometry and patient gravity. Long before marble pillars and grand archways, before wheels carved their circular promise into dirt, humans answered a subtler call. They heeded the sigh of hidden currents beneath their feet. In Anatolia's cool dawn, water dripped through limestone, finding its own path. Settlements emerged around that drip, first as clusters of reeds, then as villages of mud brick craft. In the Andes, above tree line, small communities carved terraces beside mountain springs. They had no maps, only memory. They walked the stream's edge, tracing its curve with their footsteps. Water was their architect. They built platforms, channels, and canals as if guided by an unseen hand, because they were. Al-Muqaddasi, 9th century. Water is the soul of the earth. A city without it is a mouth without breath. The oldest sanctuaries weren't temples of stone, but springs hidden in rock. Devotees came not to build, they came to listen. And in that listening, towns formed. Markets followed, then walls. Water shaped society from the ground up, dictating what could grow, who could settle, where festivals were held. Think of water as the first cartographer, drawing invisible lines across the landscape. We merely tattooed stone on its blueprint. When the spring dried, settlements shifted. When rivers changed course, so did trade routes. And when aquifers ran silent, even great cities vanished, leaving only channels and memories in the bedrock. As villagers learned to read these whispers, they sought water in places others dared not tread. In Persia, they turned desert into promise by digging beneath the dust. Imagine a tunnel, carved by torchlight, sloping gently into the mountain's heart. No daylight, only the ring of chisel against stone, and the heartbeat. Qanats weren't uniform. Some stretched 30 kilometers, others just a few hundred meters. Each began at a mother well, tapping into an aquifer. Vertical shafts peaked at the surface like silent witnesses, providing ventilation, removal of debris, and access for maintenance. The shaft locations were measured with rudimentary geometry, angles, intercepts, and slope. No modern surveyor's level, only plumb bobs, ropes, and patient eyes. Villages formed around each Qanat outlet, clustering where water pooled at the surface. Communities thrived on these hidden arteries. Schools gathered by the stream's mouth. Bakers dipped dough in cool water. Date palms and vineyards flourished where sunlight alone could not sustain them. During summer's peak, caravans followed Qanat lines, resting at shaded shafts. Camels stooped to drink while merchants bartered spices and silk. These veins weren't merely local lifelines. They wove Persia into the Silk Road. Thousands of Qanats still flow, silent relics of ingenuity. In Yazd, engineers preserve them with reverence. They clear silt, repair shafts, teach new generations that survival in the desert is less about resisting nature and more about listening to it. Yazd inscription: "We asked not for rain, we asked for precision." And so, beneath the shifting sands, life persisted. But not every hidden current remains hidden forever. In Egypt's delta, a city rose on silt and fell to tide. In the still hush before dawn, the Nile delta stirred with mist, and out of that blue-gray haze rose Thonis-Heracleion. Imagine a city built on ever-shifting silt, its streets humming with commerce, its canals threading between colossal statues of Amun and Heracles. Amphorae heavy with olive oil, wine, and papyrus clinked in timber-reinforced holds as Phoenician traders bargained for Egyptian gold. Palm fronds danced overhead, casting rippled shadows on sandstone keys that held the day's first offerings: loaves of bread, lotus blossoms, and vials of incense. Priests in crisp linen cloaks moved with measured reverence, leading sacred boats along water-filled courts, their oars carving silent arcs beneath carved reliefs of flood god Hapi. Here, Greek myth and Egyptian ritual intertwined. Traders left offerings to Heracles. Locals paid homage to Amun-Ra. Canals gleamed in dawn light, reflecting hieroglyphs praising the river's bounty. Market women wound through narrow lanes, their baskets brimming with fish, dates, and fragrant perfumes. Children splashed in shallows, chasing frogs and dragonflies. And all the while, the delta's silt-laden breath threatened the city's floating foundation. For Thonis was built on quicksand. One fateful night the ground shuddered. A tremor rippled through the alluvial beds, liquefying foundations, collapsing houses in a single breath. Stone columns, once proud sentinels, snapped like reeds in a gale. Gangplanks sank, granaries burst, and sacred pools drowned beneath an inching tide. The city did not burn. It folded in upon itself, swallowed by the very river it revered. In the morning's dim glow, only ripples betrayed its vanished streets. Herodotus wrote, "Thonis is sacred, invisible to those who do not seek it. The tides remember what men forget." Centuries passed. The Mediterranean cloaked these ruins in sand and silt. Thonis-Heracleion became a whispered legend, its sanctuaries reduced to buried echoes. Yet beneath every tide, it waited, patient as the river itself. In 2000, explorers armed with sonar and ROVs peeled back layers of time. They found colossal statues lying on their sides, broken obelisks strewn like discarded monoliths, and paved roads that once guided chariots and pilgrims alike. Today, researchers drift through sunken colonnades, lights in hand. They trace hieroglyphs praising Hapi's floods, brush sand from carved reliefs, and piece together temple fragments. Each find is a whisper from a drowned civilization, reminding us that water builds empires and reclaims them. Artifacts once worshipped on dry land now rest beneath waves, their stories preserved in salt water and time. Thonis-Heracleion offers a caution. Empires that master water may still succumb to it. Flood control and canals can't tame the Earth's deeper currents. Quakes, subsidence, rising seas. As we engineer mega dams and levees today, we inherit the same fragile balance. Will our cities slip beneath new tides? Will our stories echo only in sonar scans? In the silence of the deep, Thonis still breathes. Its canals, though choked with silt, trace a hidden map, one that speaks of trade, religion, and daily life. Each coffered ceiling, each lotus capital, each carved relief is a memory held by water. And for a fleeting moment, as light pierces the sea, we glimpse the laughter of children on those vanished quays. As the currents of the Nile carry Thonis-Heracleion's secrets, so too do the Aegean waves guard another lost city. We turn now from Egypt's sunken gates to Greece's oldest submerged settlement, Pavlopetri, where streets lie beneath the azure calm as precise.
In the shimmering turquoise of the Aegean, just offshore from Laconia, lies a city lost to time, Pavlopetri. Its rooftops and streets rest 3,000 years beneath gentle waves, preserved in salt as though in amber. Imagine gliding over an invisible town, houses arranged in neat rows, narrow alleys traced in stone, courtyards with sunken cisterns still holding droplets of history. No wreckage, no rubble, just the perfect grid of a Bronze Age settlement, paused midday, awaiting our discovery. Pavlopetri's planners were precise. They laid out thoroughfares in right angles, carved wells at regular intervals, and built communal cisterns to collect seasonal rain, rarely abundant, yet precious. Each home had a drain leading to a covered channel, a testament to hygiene and order. Here, water was not haphazard. It was honored, routed, and stored, proof that even coastal communities understood the sacred geometry of flow. Daily life in Pavlopetri reflected this mastery. Fishermen hauled nets onto quays that still lie intact. Markets bustled by the shore, olive oil in amphorae, figs piled beside garlands of sea salt. Shrines to Poseidon stood near public laveries, where citizens washed not only hands, but worries beneath the sea's calm embrace. In this city, community and water were inseparable. Around 1000 BCE, Pavlopetri faced no siege, no fire, only the subtle shift of earth. An earthquake severed its ties to the land. Instead of collapse, the city sank evenly, preserving its order in a single graceful descent. The waves claimed rooftops and roads alike, sealing the grid beneath a liquid mirror that has kept it safe from looters ever since. Modern explorers only found Pavlopetri in the 1960s, when sonar first traced its regular outline. Divers now drift among column bases and threshold stones, every block a message from the past. They light their way with lamps, revealing flat courtyards and sunken thresholds, as if the town simply pressed pause and waited for us to remember. Pavlopetri teaches us that life can be preserved in stillness. No chariot wheels clatter here, only the soft echo of a diver's breath. This city rests in dignity, inviting us to listen to its paused heartbeat. From Laconia's silent streets, we now turn toward Rome's shadow, Baia, where luxury met thermal springs, and where even emperors could not escape water's final claim. In the golden age of Rome, Baia was its most hedonistic retreat, a coastline of villas sculpted into volcanic slopes, warmed by thermal springs. Imagine marble porticos hung with flowering vines, where senators and poets bathed in steaming courtyards, sipping wine from crystal goblets as fountains sang beneath their feet. Baia was built on indulgence, and water was its instrument of pleasure. A network of aqueducts strung above Baia, like jeweled garlands, channeling mineral-rich springs into bathhouses of opal and glass. Steam curled through marble columns as slaves tended hypocausts beneath heated floors. Philosophers debated in lukewarm pools, and courtesans dangled feet in jade basins, exchanging gossip as the tide lapped below. Seneca, who despised excess yet could not resist Baia's charms, wrote, "Baia is a place of soft waters and softer indulgence. One bath may wash away many sins." Here water was both vice and virtue, a liquid mirror reflecting power, intrigue, and whispered intrigue beneath pergolas of orange blossoms. But the land beneath Baia was restless. Volcanic fault lines twisted like scars beneath marble. One day the earth shuddered, the steam vents hissed, and the peninsula's crust began to sink.
Villas tilted, colonnades cracked, and terraces slipped slowly into the sea, not with a crash, but with an inexorable pull. Today, divers drift through Baia's submerged arcades. Mosaic floors gleam under soft sunlight filtering through azure waves. Bronze sculptures lie half-buried in sand. Shafts of light reveal fresco fragments still clinging to walls. It is neither ruin nor relic. It is a sunken playground frozen in the tension between pleasure and decay. Baia teaches that even the lap of luxury can be a lullaby for oblivion. Water can soothe and swallow in equal measure. From Rome's drowned playground we now voyage east, to Indian shores where legend and archaeology converge in the submerged city of Dwarka. In the humid dawn over the Arabian Sea, where twilight dissolves into tide, the shoreline guards a secret swallowed by devotion and legend. They call it Dwarka, the golden city built by the god king Krishna himself. Sacred texts describe marble palaces, temples layered in coral mosaics, and 7 wells that mirrored the cosmos above. Legends say stone staircases led worshippers directly into tranquil bays, promising divine communion with every submerged step. For centuries, historians dismissed these tales as myth. Archaeologists scoured the coast, turning up fragments of pottery and carved bricks. Technology advanced, sonar, magnetometry, submersibles, and gradually the sea revealed her truth. Under layers of silt and coral, the outlines of rectangular docks and wall segments emerged, hinting at urban planning as precise as any ancient trade port. In the silent subaqueous labyrinth, each broken block and sculpted lintel whispered of a civilization caught between faith and fact. Today, divers drift through clear waters, lights cutting through twilight beams to illuminate submerged gateways and temple foundations. They map corridors that once welcomed pilgrims, now encrusted in barnacles, coral blooms around column stubs like offertory wreaths. In this intersection of legend, archaeology, and tidal memory, Dwarka stands as both dream and reality, a city built for the gods, reclaimed by the sea, awaiting our ear to catch its echo. In Dwarka's heyday, stone channels carved with geometric precision carried fresh water from inland springs to coastal plazas. Archaeologists refer to them as the 7 wells, each positioned along cardinal points, channeling aquifer flows beneath bedrock. Water emerged from concealed faults, bubbling into stepped tanks where priests performed daily lustrations, invoking Krishna's blessing with lotus petals and turmeric-laced water. The great eastern well gushed through a carved swan's beak, feeding a ceremonial pool ringed by basalt mantles. Pilgrims ascended marble steps, their chants echoing in vaulted corridors, as cool water washed away worldly cares. Ceramic pipes, sealed with lime mortar, distributed water to residential courtyards and market fountains, so precise that modern engineers marvel at their slope calculations. Beneath the waves now, divers trace these conduits. Each collapsed pipe and scattered sherd tells of meticulous craftsmen who honored water as sacred. Inscriptions on basalt blocks, though obscured by coral, hint at water festivals marking seasonal floods. Merchant ships carried this blessed water across the Indian Ocean, prized for its purity and healing lore. Legend describes Dwarka's creation in a single night, walls rising as swiftly as thoughts, each stone laid by divine hands. The Skanda Purana recounts how Krishna summoned Vishwakarma, the celestial architect, to fashion this city from the sea's own treasure. Temples dedicated to Vishnu glowed in moonlight, their reflective pools mirroring constellations. Yet, until the 21st century, these tales remained devotion's domain. Early surveys found only stray pottery and jumbled stones. Then sonar mapping painted a clearer picture. 7 rectangular enclosures, what seemed to be dock foundations and straight streets carved into the sea floor. Some alignments closely match star charts mentioned in the Mahabharata, suggesting cosmic intent in their layout. Today's expeditions photograph and catalog every fragment. Each corroded pillar stub becomes a testament to an ancient pact between faith and engineering. Dwarka's story, half scripture, half sea, reminds us that when belief flows like water, reality often follows its course. Submerged corals have clasped temple lintels like silent sentinels. Fish dart through archways where once processions wound. The sea has both erased and preserved, eroded carvings even as it guarded them from looters. In this delicate balance, time behaves differently, slowed by water's embrace. Marine archaeologists now carefully remove silt to reveal inscriptions praising Narayana, the preserver among the Trimurti. Traces of pigments, red ochre and lapis lazuli, from ritual dances still cling to niches. Each reveal is a moment suspended between myth and material, where devotion becomes data and scripture becomes sonar. In the ebb and flow, Dwarka still exhales its story. Listen closely, and you'll hear the chant of 7 wells, the hush of moonlit baths, and the pulse of a divine city, inviting us to read its submerged script. Dwarka's engineers harnessed both myth and mechanics. They oriented wells to cardinal winds, channeled runoff to irrigate spice gardens, and built breakwaters of stacked granite to calm monsoon swells. Their understanding of hydrodynamics rivaled that of Rome, and yet was guided by Dharma as much as by drafts. When the sea reclaimed the shoreline, perhaps through gradual subsidence rather than cataclysm, Dwarka slipped beneath layers of silt, but unlike many lost ports, it sank evenly, preserving its street grid. This graceful descent became a time capsule, holding snapshots of daily life, cooking pots beside street drains, ornamented lamps near temple steps, and bronze coins scattered across merchant stalls. Each of these relics is an invitation to touch water in our own hands and remember its power to shape belief, commerce, and the very ground we stand upon. Across millennia, Dwarka remained dormant until technology bridged the gap between legend and proof. Sonar sketched its parameters, magnetometers detected buried stone, submersibles mapped its block-paved roads. Now, multidisciplinary teams, marine archaeologists, Sanskrit scholars, geotechnical engineers, collaborate to piece together a city part scripture, part sediment. Public exhibitions display recovered artifacts, a carved stone panel depicting Krishna's chariot, earthenware bearing floral motifs, and fragments of basalt pillars inscribed in Brahmi script. Each find anchors myth in material reality, reminding us that water not only preserves but narrates. As you listen, imagine yourself drifting through Dwarka's silent corridors, your lamp illuminating both devotion and design, faith and function in a world shaped by water's inexorable will. Dwarka teaches that some cities across the fertile banks of the Indus, over 4,000 years ago, 2 cities rose with unprecedented order, Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro. Unlike chaotic sprawls, they were laid out in perfect grids, streets running north-south and east-west, blocks of identical dimensions, and drainage channels hidden beneath stone slabs. Here, water was not left to chance. It was an engineered presence, nurturing crops, sustaining households, and sanctified in public baths. Every Harappan home boasted a private well, sunk deep into the water table. Rainwater harvesting systems funneled monsoon downpours into communal reservoirs. Wastewater ran through covered drains, preventing contamination. Archaeologist Gregory Possehl wrote, "Nearly every house had its own drainage path. It was a civilization of cleanliness." Public baths, like Mohenjo-Daro's Great Bath, suggest communal rituals of purity where citizens washed away dust and social divisions alike. Mohenjo-daro's Great Bath was more than hygiene, it was ceremonial. Steps led into a 5-meter deep pool lined with watertight bricks and sealed with bitumen. Surrounding colonnades overlooked the water, as if observing a sacred rite. Pottery fragments found nearby indicate offerings. Colored beads, shell bangles, and painted terracotta figurines tossed into the depths. This was a ritual of renewal, bathing before markets, festivals, and perhaps even before the birth of a child. Public and private spaces were connected by a network of brick drains, covered by large, flat stones. These channels carried wastewater away from living quarters, under streets, and out to the river beyond city walls. Rainwater channeled through inlets and sumps prevented flooding. Even street corners had curb cuttings to guide runoff. In a world without pumps, the Harappans achieved hydraulic mastery, anticipating modern sewer systems by millennia. Harappan society revered water not only for necessity, but as a cultural symbol. Their seals depict water buffalo, rivers, and flowing lines. Rotating cylindrical seals stamped clay with fish scale patterns, perhaps a tribute to aquatic abundance. Pottery vessels were often bellied for maximum capacity, suggesting that grain storage and water transport were equally vital to their granaries. As the monsoon shifted, river courses moved and Harappan cities declined. Some sank beneath silt, others were abandoned, but their hydraulic legacy endures. Covered drains beneath Pakistan's streets, water tanks repurposed for livestock, and archaeological reconstructions that still amaze engineers today. Every brick-laid conduit speaks of a people who treated water as both resource and ritual. From the dusty grids of the Indus, we journey to a rose-red canyon in Jordan, where the Nabateans carved their city of Petra, and with it, the desert's hidden flow. Carved into the rose-red cliffs of southern Jordan, Petra rose not by riverbanks, but by rain.
The Nabateans, masters of desert survival, built dams, cisterns, and channels to trap every drop of the scarce storm. Natural rock basins fed by seasonal torrents, then guided through stone conduits into hidden reservoirs and public fountains. Here, water was life-hewn in rock. Jebel Huba's destruction dikes diverted flash floods away from the city's heart. Water-carved channels etched delicate grooves into monoliths, creating a network of conduits that rival modern aqueducts. Bronze pipes carried water into the Sikh, feeding the treasury's cistern. Archaeologists estimate Petra's system could capture over 1 million liters each winter season, enough for 20,000 inhabitants. Public plazas boasted ornate fountains, tiers of carved stone that spilled into carved basins. Salt efflorescence still marks ancient overflow channels. Private cisterns lay beneath courtyard floors, accessed by trapdoors for maintenance. Inscriptions on plaster walls, some still legible, remind us, we do not command the rain, we prepare for its arrival. At the monastery, carved steps descend into a cavernous water tank. Archaeologists found fish bones in muck, suggesting aquaculture practice. The high place of sacrifice overlooks the skyline, its reservoirs still intact. Every basin, every channel, every water-worn notch in rock testifies to the Nabateans' partnership with the desert. Petra's water system fostered wealth. Caravans transported spices and incense through the Sikh, pausing at shaded pools. Wealth funded temples and tombs hewn in rose stone. When trade routes shifted, Petra's fountains ran dry, and the city dwindled. Yet, in dry canyons today, a single rain can awaken its veins once more. From Petra's carved veins, we turn inward, reflecting on 9 cities bound by one devotion, to water's relentless whisper. What binds Persia's Qanats, Egypt's sunken port, India's golden gates, and Greece's submerged grid? Not culture, creed, or compass, but a single devotion: flow. Each civilization mastered water's subtle geometry, harnessing gravity, and geometry rather than brute force. In doing so, they learned that water is not a resource to consume, but a teacher to honor. Water carved civilizations before we carved empires.
It chose where cities could rise, guided where markets would flourish, and dictated where festivals were held. It whispered through stables and sanctuaries, through villas and workshops. It was ritual, every stream crossing a sacred threshold. And when great empires forgot to listen, when they dominated rather than negotiated, water reclaimed them. Thonis returned to the sea. Baia slipped beneath steam and stone. Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro succumbed to shifting silts. Petra's fountains went silent without rain.
Today, we build levees and dams, bore tunnels beneath rivers, and pipe water cross-continent. We claim mastery, but the ancient veins still pulse beneath our cities. Underground springs still feed forgotten wells. Old aqueducts still leak beneath highways. In their silence, they remind us, true mastery comes not from imposing will, but from understanding flow. Pause now. Breathe in the memory of flowing stone and hidden veins. Imagine those ancient currents beneath your feet, even here, even now. They are the first cartographers. They are the keepers of time. And if you listen, they still speak. Thank you for wandering through these ancient waterways. If you found peace in their quiet rhythm, return again. Next episode, we'll explore how medieval washhouses harnessed urine and ash to keep Europe clean. Until then, drink slowly, breathe gently, and remember, beneath every stone, every city, every whisper, the water is still flowing.